Hello, my friends, and welcome back to the Ravand English Podcast. I'm Brandon, and today's episode is one I've been waiting to record for a very long time because it answers the most common and the most painful question English learners keep asking me: why I can't understand English, but I still can't speak it. You've probably felt that moment where someone asks you a simple question in English and suddenly your brain freezes. Your tongue feels heavy. The words are somewhere in your mind, but it's like they're hiding behind a locked door. You know the words. You've studied them. You've heard them 1,000 times. But when it's time to speak, nothing. Today, I want to take you inside your brain and show you why this happens. What's actually blocking you and how you can retrain your mind to finally speak English naturally. No grammar, no vocabulary lists, just your brain and how to work with it. Take a deep breath and relax your shoulders. Let your jaw soften and follow my voice. Let's begin. I want to start by telling you something very honest. Most learners think they can't speak English because they don't know enough. That's not true. That's not even close to true. The real reason is that your brain is not trained for speaking. It's trained for understanding. And those are two completely different skills. Understanding is passive. It's calm. It doesn't require confidence. You can sit in your room, listen to a podcast, and nod your head. No pressure, no eyes on you, no risk. Speaking is active. It's fast. It's emotional. It exposes you. It requires your brain to work, retrieve, assemble, and deliver words in real time, under pressure. And your brain treats pressure like danger. This is the first real reason learners can't speak. Your brain goes into protection mode. I repeat it. Your brain goes into protection mode. Let me explain. Your brain doesn't care about your fluency. Its number one job is to protect you from embarrassment, judgment, mistakes, and social danger. So, when you want to speak English, your brain asks itself, is this safe? If your brain thinks the answer is no, even a tiny little no, it slows everything down. It makes you translate. It makes you hesitate. It creates silence. Not because you're bad at English, but because your brain thinks it's protecting you. Think about this. If you grew up speaking French every day with your family, friends, co-workers, your brain built deep emotional comfort with that language. French became your social safety zone, your identity zone, your automatic zone. English didn't. So, you suddenly need English, especially in front of someone your brain says, this is unfamiliar. I don't want to be embarrassed. Slow down. This is the exact moment when you freeze. Nothing is wrong with your intelligence. Nothing is wrong with your memory. Nothing is wrong with your English. It's your survival system kicking in. That is the first lesson. Now, let me tell you the second. The second reason you can't speak English is because you try to speak English using your French brain. You think in French, then you translate, then you speak. But translation is heavy, it's slow, it's unnatural, it kills your flow. Your brain is not designed for translation, it's designed for direct communication. When you translate, you're forcing your brain to take the longest possible path to produce a simple sentence. And here's the crazy part. Your brain translates not because it's necessary, but because it's familiar. For years, maybe your whole life, your brain has been solving everything through French. French is your system, your shortcut, your automatic path. English is not automatic yet. So your brain goes, well, let me think in French first, then I'll convert it to English. This might work on paper. It might work when you are writing, but in real conversations where time is limited and emotions are real, translation breaks down. This is why the sentence in your mind is perfect, but the sentence that comes out of your mouth feels broken. It is not your speaking that's the problem. It is the system behind your speaking, and that system must be retrained. Now, there is a third reason, and this one is really important. The third reason you can't speak easily is because your brain only knows English that enters, not English that comes out. This is very important, my friends. You've trained your input muscles, listening, reading, understanding. But you haven't trained your output muscles, thinking, retrieving, creating, expressing. Imagine training only one side of your body, only your right arm, but not your left. One side becomes strong, the other stays weak. This is how most learners train their English. They listen a lot, which is great. They understand a lot, which is great. But speaking requires a different type of mental muscle. Retrieval, speed, courage, automatic thinking. You never practiced these. And your brain will never give you a skill you haven't trained. Not because it hates you, but because it literally can't do it without practice. Now, let's put these 3 reasons together. You can't speak English because 1. Your brain is trying to protect you. 2. Your brain is translating everything from French. 3. Your brain has trained the wrong muscles. So, what do? We retrain the brain. We build the English-speaking part of your mind from the inside. We work with your brain, not against it. And this is where everything changes. Stay with me. The first step to training your English brain is actually the smallest. It's removing the pressure. Your brain cannot learn when it feels watched, judged, or scared. It closes, it tightens, it blocks. But your brain learns extremely fast when it feels safe. This means your real English brain training doesn't happen in conversations with others. It doesn't happen in front of native speakers. It doesn't happen in scary situations. It starts in your mind, inside your head, with small, simple, private English thoughts. Thoughts that are short, broken, imperfect, simple. Many learners will say, "But Brandon, that's not real English." Oh, but it is. It's the most important English you can produce because this is where your internal voice begins to change. When you wake up and say quietly in your head, morning, sleepy, need water, you're training your English brain. When you're walking and you think, cold today, people walking slow, I'm late, you are training your English brain. When you're cooking and you think, eggs, butter, plate, hungry, you're training your English brain. This is the beginning. This is how you build new automatic pathways. Remember the analogy I promised. Only one. At the beginning, your English pathway is like a small trail in a forest. Every time you use it, even with tiny, simple thoughts, the trail becomes wider. One day, it becomes a road. One day, a highway. And that's when your English starts flowing. But it starts with the smallest thoughts. Private thoughts. Thoughts nobody hears. Most learners think speaking training must happen out loud in big, scary conversations. That's wrong. Speaking training begins in your mind, not your mouth. This is how you remove pressure. This is how you begin. Now, let me tell you the second part of the solution. The second way to train your English brain is to break the translation habit. And I know this is the hardest part. Your brain loves French. It wants to start every sentence with French. It wants to think in French. It wants to plan in French. But you cannot speak English with a French engine. So, how do you stop translating? You don't fight translation. You replace it. Here's the truth. Your brain cannot think in two languages at the same time. So, if you give it simple English to think with, it stops using French automatically. This is why simple internal sentences are powerful. They teach your brain that English can be the starting point, not French. You want your brain to wake up and think, water, cold, shower, good morning, not you, thoi, bonjour. Okay, now translate. You stop translating not by force, but by habit. If you give your brain English seeds every day, your brain starts growing English branches. And slowly, and your mind becomes bilingual from the inside. This takes time, my friends. This takes repetition. And it takes gentle, low-pressure English every day. Now let's move to the third part, the emotional side. You cannot speak English easily until you fix the emotion behind speaking. I want to ask you something, and please answer honestly in your head. When you think about speaking English, what emotion do you feel first? Is it excitement or is it fear, worry, tension, embarrassment, pressure? Most learners feel fear first, a small fear, a quiet fear, but it's there. And fear shuts down language. This is biology. Your brain has a structure called the amygdala. It protects you from danger. When you feel judged, or insecure, the amygdala becomes active. It blocks the prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain that controls language. That's why when you're nervous, you forget words you learned years ago. You can't access them. They're not gone. They're just locked temporarily. So we need to retain the emotional response around English. We need your brain to associate English not with danger, but with safety. And the best place to create a safe space for English is inside your own mind, with your own thoughts and tiny private moments. When your internal English voice becomes friendly, your external English voice becomes free. This is how you change everything. Now, I am going to tell you the final part, the moment everything transforms. One day, and it won't happen suddenly. It won't be dramatic. It'll be quiet. You will notice something strange. You'll be speaking to someone, and without thinking, you'll answer faster. You won't translate. You won't plan. You won't panic. Words will simply appear. They won't be perfect. They won't be beautiful, but they will be there. And you'll feel something new inside your mind. Space. Your brain will feel lighter. Your thoughts will feel smoother. And for the first time, speaking won't feel like a performance. It will feel like you. That moment is coming, not because you will memorize more, not because you will study harder, but because you will retrain your brain gently, patiently, daily. The English brain is not something you learn. It's something you build, thought by thought, moment by moment. Your French brain is strong. Your English brain is growing. And if you give it just a little space every day, it'll surprise you. Okay, let me wrap this up. My friends, thank you so much for being here with me today. I want you to remember something important. You were not born with an English brain. Nobody is. But you can build one. And you can build it faster than you think if you stop waiting for perfection and start giving your brain simple, small, daily English moments. You don't have to speak beautifully today. You just have to think one simple English thought. That's it. That's the seed. That's the beginning. Train your brain a little today, a little tomorrow, a little the next day. And one day, without even noticing it happen, you will open your mouth and English will flow. Okay, guys, I'm Brandon. This is the Ravand English Podcast, and I'll see you in the next episode.